Hi foodies, how you doing? Let me show you this delicious shrimp potato au gratin. It was so yummy. This is great for a holiday dinner spread, but you can have it in the week too. Let me show you how I made this. So I got some shrimp and I did slice them in half. You don't have to, but listen, shrimp is not cheap and I wanted to stretch it a little bit. All right, so I cut them in half and then I seasoned with Old Bay, paprika, and a little salt and pepper. All right. So in the pan over medium heat, I added some oil and butter, and I'm just going to be cooking the shrimp. Try not to overcook them because they are going to be going in the oven later. So once the shrimp starts to look opaque, you can set them aside in a plate or a bowl and make sure you divide it in half. Half of it you're going to dice, and then the other half you'll let that remain whole. In that same pan over low to medium heat, you're going to melt butter. And then once that's melted, just saute onion and garlic. And the onions and the garlic, I minced those finely. The onion and the garlic don't need to be browned. You just need to cook them until they are fragrant. Then you will stir in some flour. All right, I'm using some all-purpose flour, just gonna whisk that in. You could use a wooden spoon if you're comfortable, but I prefer to use a whisk just to prevent lumps from forming. Continue to whisk the roux over a low heat, and then you can add some heavy cream or table cream or full fat milk, a little at a time. But continue to whisk while you add the milk. That will help to prevent lumps from forming. So all of that milk has been added. All I need to do now is just turn it up a little bit higher. And then I'm going to be adding some seasoning. So I have onion powder, garlic powder, nutmeg, a little cayenne pepper, and some fresh minced thyme. Once this starts to thicken slightly, make sure you give it a taste. If you're happy with the seasoning, you can turn off the heat and then we can stir in the cheese. Now, when it comes to cheese, you could use some grated Parmesan. You could use mozzarella, white cheddar, yellow cheddar. Today, I'm just using mozzarella and white cheddar. Once you've added all the cheese a little at a time, your sauce is good to go. Just set that aside, take it off of the heat. And of course, we need our potatoes. For the potatoes, you could use a mandolin to slice, or you could just use a knife if that's what you have at home. You're trying to do slices that are not too thick, not too thin. Okay. Usually when I do my au gratin, I leave the potatoes raw and cook them completely in the oven. But this time we're going to be boiling them because we don't want to have it in the oven for too long just because, the seafood is cooked already. Make sure you keep your eye on these potatoes because it's so easy to overcook them. So once you have your salted water ready, boil them for about 4 to 5 minutes. They should be slightly firm. You don't want them to be completely mashed. Sometimes it can be hard to do, but just keep your eye on those potatoes, all right? Give that a stir, let them boil. Now, please remember we're not waiting for the potatoes to get super tender, all right? Just cook them quickly and then pour them in your largest colander or strainer. Try not to, put them in something small because then they're going to just be piled on top of each other and they'll just fall apart. So once these are drained completely, it's time to assemble. So grab that sauce, spread a little bit in the bottom of the baking dish. Then you're going to layer the potato slices. You can be as precise in the layering as you want to be. And then you're going to drizzle and spread some more sauce. After this, we will add the diced shrimp and some cheese. Now, the reason I wanted to add some diced shrimp in between those layers is because, sometimes you have a casserole and each bite, you're like, oh gosh, I wish I had more of that protein. So I just wanted it to be sprinkled throughout so that every bite you would taste some shrimp. So sprinkle on the shrimp, then add some cheese. So just like in the sauce, I'm using a little mozzarella and a white cheddar to sprinkle here. Once the cheese goes on, just repeat the layer. It's potato, sauce, cheese, and shrimp. Or shrimp, then cheese. Okay. Now for the last layer, this is the final one. You had the potato, the sauce. I'm putting on some shrimp, but this isn't the diced shrimp. These are the bigger pieces. Then we'll add cheese on top. And the cheese is mozzarella and yellow cheddar, just because I wanted the top to be yellow. Now you're going to be covering this with some foil. Put it in the oven. The oven should be preheated to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. You're going to put it in there for about 30 minutes. Then remove the foil and turn on the broiler. The broiler is going to give it that final little color. You don't want it to be too brown, but it's going to help it get nice and bubbly and brown in the right places. Now all you need is a little garnish. If you feel like it, you can do some minced parsley or green onion or chive and serve this up. You want to let it rest for at least 20 minutes before you dig in, because if you don't, it will fall apart. I understand if everybody's hungry, which is what happened in my case. We couldn't wait for it to set. So I'm just going to dig in and show you what it's like. It is so creamy and cheesy, just so delicious. Look at that. Now, of course, as I said, it will hold together better if you let it cool down a little bit. But it can be enjoyed immediately if that's what you want. Just prepare to see some runny sauce, okay? This dish is very rich. It's very creamy, so I would suggest having it with a big salad, or you can just put it on the side of your plate with all the other stuff from your holiday spread or your Sunday dinner spread. Please check out the description box for the list of ingredients. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.